Which LEGO themes should I be investing in as a LEGO investor? This is a question that I get all the time, especially from new LEGO investors, because LEGO, there are so many different themes. There are Star Wars, Minecraft, Speed Champions, Harry Potter, so many different LEGO themes, which are basically just product lines. And a lot of people, when they first start LEGO investing, they're not sure which ones they should be focused on. Should I be buying a couple of sets in every theme? Should I be focused on just one theme? How should I approach this whole thing about themes? And right at the top, I do want to say, I do think it makes a lot of sense to narrow your focus, and doing that by theme is a pretty good way to do it because that will help you to really master certain themes. I think it's important in the beginning to have more narrow focus so that you can really learn some of the history, some of the background, some of the structure and different things that happen inside of a LEGO theme when it comes to investing, because each theme is different. They have different price points, they have different retirement schedules, they have different design features and different playability, collectability, and a lot of different things that can be different from one theme to another. So when new LEGO investors try to bite off more than they can chew by getting good at all the different themes at the same time, honestly, it can just be too much. So I'm constantly telling new LEGO investors, just pick a couple of themes so that you can narrow your focus, get really, really good at those themes, learn some of the history, learn some of the expectations around that theme when it comes to investing, and then over time you can expand out into other themes. Okay, Shane, but how do I do that? There are so many different themes out there in the world of LEGO, and each one is completely different to the next one. How do I know which ones that I should focus on? So that's what we're going to cover here in this video. And I've got a few different things that I think are important for picking a theme that you want to focus on when it comes to LEGO investing. Now, the first one is pretty obvious, and this one is checking the performance of old retired sets inside of that theme. Now, when it comes to understanding the expected return on investment that you might get on future LEGO investments, one of the best ways to do that is by looking at the past. Give yourself a history lesson. Go back in time, find some sets that have retired already, and then go to eBay and to Amazon and check the current prices that those sets are selling for. So you can go on brickset.com, for example. You could find some sets that retired back 2 or 3 years ago, and then go on eBay, search for those sets, filter for sold listings so you can see actual recent sales and see what the current price is today. And when you first start LEGO investing, honestly, you should be doing a lot of this. I binged on this for months when I first started with LEGO investing, just checking comps. This is called checking comps. You're checking comparable sets. So if you are looking at one set that you might be interested in, then checking comps would be finding similar sets that retired a couple of years ago and checking what they are selling for today. Now, when it comes to picking your theme, this is important because you should be checking values and return on investments of some sets in a theme that you might be interested in. So for example, if you are considering investing in Star Wars, then you can go back and look at a handful of the sets that retired from the Star Wars theme a couple of years ago. What are they doing today in terms of values? What would your return on investment have been if you invested in those sets? If you got them at 20% off or 30% off, then what kind of profit would you have made by now? This starts to give you a feel for the theme in terms of return on investment capabilities and what is possible. Now, it is not perfect because history does not tell us what's going to happen in the future. There's no guarantee that the future sets will do the same thing because they are different sets. There's different supply and demand for the new sets. The theme may not be as popular now as it was then, and it's just not perfect. There's no guarantee that history and past performance will tell us the future. But it is a really strong indicator, and then we can combine that with some other things that we'll talk about next. Now, it's important to not only do this on one or two themes. You need to check a couple of different themes against each other. So compare some past performers from Speed Champions, from Star Wars, from Minecraft, from Jurassic World, from Mario, from art, from all the different themes, so you can start to get an understanding of what typically happens in all these different themes. Some of them will have a lot more history than others because some themes are relatively new. So Lego art, for example, we've only got a couple of years of history on. The Lego botanical sets, none of them have ever retired until this year, so we have no history, right? So that should also be something that you consider because we do want to see some track record and some history and some return on investment of the last couple of years. Now, after you have done that, after you've figured out a couple of themes that have some real winners over the last couple of years, these are some themes that some sets have retired and they've done incredible return on investments. That doesn't really mean that you should definitely go and invest in all the sets in that theme right now because there are some other things we want to think about. Another thing that I like to think about is, does the theme have any technology included? Because I don't like to invest in sets that have some sort of technology focus. That means things that are app controlled. It means things that have augmented reality, like the old Hidden Side themes. These are things that can change too often. Technology just moves too quickly. So for me, I prefer to invest in Lego sets that do not have technology involved. That's just a preference for me, of course. I don't tend to hold my Lego investments for 10 years, but I would love the option to do so if I ever wanted to. And so I don't want it to be dependent on some app that's not supposed supported anymore. And then another consideration that I find important is really the MSRP of the sets within the theme. What do I mean by that? So different themes have different price points of the set. So for example, Lego Icons typically has high price sets. They're $500 sets or $200 sets, whereas Lego Speed Champions has low price sets. Lego Brickheads has a lot of low price sets. Now, depending on your strategy for high priced versus low priced when it comes to investing, that may dictate which themes you can actually invest in. Because if you are someone who decided that you don't want to invest in any high price sets, then you're going to have to rule out the Icons theme entirely. Likewise, if you are someone who doesn't want to invest in low price sets, Brickheads is not going to be for you. So we need to consider this because the strategy can differ from high price to low price sets. Now, that's a whole other video. I've talked about it in the past, but I will be making more content in the future on high price versus low price. The long story short on that is that there are pros and cons. I love both directions. Low price sets can sometimes have higher return on investments, but high price sets can often be easier to scale, easier to manage, and have less work involved. So there are pros and cons. So depending on your strategy, because that is something that is just dependent on the person, then that may dictate which themes that you should be looking at and which themes that you can ignore. So we've looked at 3 different things so far. One is that we want to see some track record of history in the past where some sets in the theme have done very, very well. Number 2, we don't want it to be related to technology. I like to avoid that stuff. I just don't think it's necessary, and it's probably going to be obsolete in a couple of years. And number 3, we want to make sure that the MSRP of the sets in the theme will fit our strategy, or we can at least find sets in the theme that fit our price point strategy. Now, number 4, we need to think about the demand for the theme and whether it will be sustained in the future. Now, demand is something that changes over time, and whether the demand for something like Minecraft or Mario or even Star Wars or Harry Potter, whether that continues 10 years into the future, it all depends on the brand owner's ability to keep people interested in those things. So for example, if Minecraft never release any new updates to the game, or if they don't release any new games, if they don't release merch or movies or different things like that, will people still be interested in the Minecraft brand 10 years from now? Now, maybe they will be, but will they be as interested as they are today? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. Is the demand going to come down? Even if there still is a lot of demand, will it be less than today or will it be more than today? Because when we are making Lego investments, we want to know that the demand will continue to be strong in the future. The prices are going to double or triple on these Lego sets, and the only way that that is going to continue to sell is if there is a lot of demand. Now, luckily, the Lego group has partnered with brands that are incredibly high in demand, so usually these Lego themes are going to have sustained demand, but then we need to wonder which ones will have the best demand. Now, we don't need to get too nerdy about it at this point when we're just picking some themes, but what I do think you should do is just consider, is this theme likely to still be in demand in a couple of years? And that's really all we got to do at this point, because you're just covering your bases and making sure that the topic of this theme is not going to come down in demand over time. It's either going to maintain its current demand, or it may even increase over time if a new movie or TV show or video game or something like that gets released. So that is my 4th consideration when picking a theme to invest in. Now, number 5 here is really about consistency and making sure that the theme that you're looking at is relatively consistent over time, because some themes can seem like they're packed full of great winners, but in reality there's actually a lot of losers in the theme as well. Now, a good example of this is Lego City. Lego City is one that can have really good investments, but it is also one that some sets are not going to be the best investment. So Lego City just lacks consistency. Now, consistency in track record, but also consistency in retirement dates, because some themes are more predictable than others when it comes to the cycles that the sets are on and retirement schedules. So we want to find a theme that is a bit more predictable and a bit more consistent in terms of track record and schedules of retirement and all of those different things. Now, there's no all perfect theme. Every theme is going to have a couple of sets that are not as strong performers as the others, and that's why it becomes important for us to also pick the right sets within the theme. We can't just pick a theme and then blindly throw darts at it and see what happens. But by looking at the consistency of the theme over time, we can give ourselves a better chance at higher return on investments and set ourselves up for success. Now, another consideration here is really how much do you understand the theme that you're looking at? Because everybody has different skill sets, and some people have more knowledge than others when it comes to each of the different themes in the world of Lego. So for example, if you are a Star Wars fan, then Lego Star Wars could be your opportunity when it comes to picking sets for investing. You will have more knowledge about the minifigures in the set, you will have more knowledge about the scenes that the sets are depicting and whether or not they are iconic and important scenes for Lego Star Wars collectors, and you will spot opportunities that other people are missing. Likewise, if you know nothing about a theme, like if you don't know anything about Harry Potter, then you're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to picking the right sets to invest in than other big Harry Potter investors. Now, this doesn't need to be everything, because you can learn learn a lot about the theme and then you can invest successfully in the theme. But it is easier, at least in the beginning when you first start Lego investing, to pick a theme that checks all of the other boxes that we just talked about, but also is in an area that you understand or that you have some knowledge of. Now, a good example of this, the Lego Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle, the expensive Hogwarts Castle set. It comes with 4 minifigures, and those 4 minifigures are the heads of houses in Hogwarts. They're important to the story, but they don't show up anywhere throughout the books or the movies because they were alive years before those stories ever took place. Now, those 4 minifigures do not appear in any other set in the Harry Potter world. They are exclusive to the Hogwarts Castle set. And again, the reason that they don't appear in other sets is because they weren't around during the books and movies which those sets are based on. Now, because I'm a Harry Potter fan, I understand that it's unlikely that those 4 minifigures will pop up in other sets, or if they do, it won't be common that they pop up in sets. So those 4 minifigures that appear with the Hogwarts Castle are going to become scarce over time after that set retires. That, because I have the knowledge of Harry Potter, is almost a guarantee for me, because I just don't see many sets in the future that those minifigures appear in since they're not in the books or the movies. But they are mentioned a lot throughout the books and movies, and so I think they're important enough for Harry Potter collectors to want to go and buy them. And that's just a quick example, but if you have some knowledge particularly on one of the themes, it's going to be helpful for you in spotting things that other people don't see. Now, we mentioned sustained demand as one of these things that I like to see, and also we got to think about sustained lack of supply, because when prices go up over time on Lego sets, of course, it happens because the demand is strong, but the supply is low. Now, some themes have less supply than others because they have more exclusive sets. For example, Brickheads are sets that are usually a little more scarce to find in other retailers. You can get some of them in other retailers like on Amazon and Walmart, but a lot of them you actually can't really get outside of Lego stores or Lego.com. So we need to consider themes when it comes to the supply that might be out there on the marketplace as well. And this can be impacted by the number of exclusive sets in the theme or the shelf life of the sets in the theme and different things like that. So those are 7 considerations that I like to make when I'm picking a theme. I know that this can sound like a lot, but just break it down step by step and first look at track record. Just start looking at some sets that have already retired. What are they selling for today? Move on to another theme and start comparing them against each other, and then move on to some of the other steps involved. Now, there is a common misconception that we need to watch out for here, and that is that license does not mean better or worse Lego investment. What do I mean by that? Some themes are based on a license. Those are the Harry Potter, Star Wars, Minecraft sets where Lego Group go and create a partnership with another company and take their brand and make Lego sets about them. Other themes are not based on a license. They are themes that the Lego Group have created themselves, such as Ninjago or City. Now, in my experience, I've found that whether a theme is based on a license or it's not is not the deciding factor on whether it's going to be a good investment or not. So just because a theme is based on a license, it doesn't mean that it will be a better investment than a theme that is not based on a license. And there are many winning Lego investing themes that are not based on licenses, just like there are winning themes that are based on licenses. And then there are other themes that are less good for investing that are based on licenses, and some that are not based on licenses. So I personally don't like to think about whether a theme is licensed or no license when it comes to picking a theme for investing. Instead, I like to think about the things that I talked about in this video, including track record, whether something is based on technology or not, whether it is consistent over time or not, the MSRP of the sets in the theme meets my strategy, the topic of the theme will have sustained demand over time, we have a good understanding of the topic of the theme, and there are sets in the theme that will be constrained when it comes to the supply that is out there on the marketplace. So these are the things that I think about when I'm picking themes to narrow my focus and help me to master a certain theme or a couple of themes and become a much better Lego investor. But let me know in the comments, what are some things that you like to look for in the themes that you want to invest in? I'd love to get that discussion going. And if you want to learn more about Lego investing, make sure to join our free Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the description down below. We have tons of discussion in there about Lego investing. You don't want to miss it. So get that link, jump into the free Facebook group, and I will see you in there. And thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and I will see you in the next one.